So overstimulation occurs when one or more of our senses take in more information than our brain can process in a given moment. So the more depleted that we are, the more apt we are to become overstimulated because our nervous system and our brain have less capacity to take in and integrate external stimuli. So this can happen to anyone. So I've created a somatic practice for times when you feel a little extra stimulated or overstimulated. And I'll encourage you to practice this at times when you're feeling okay, regulated, in times where it's actually a quiet environment at home, because the more that you can build this into your muscle memory and practice it during times when you feel okay enough, then it will be easier for you to access in times of stress or stimulation. Because often when we do get overstimulated, one of the things that can happen is our brain kind of starts to shut down. We get confused. We're in a heightened state, so we can't always think clearly. So having this into your muscles and built in as a practice already, it'll just make it much easier to access during times of overstimulation. So the first thing I would recommend is, if possible, step away from the stimulation. So if you're in a party setting, you're at a holiday party, or you are in a setting where you're in a crowded restaurant, things are noisier, there's a lot of bodies, a lot of people, try to step away. Go into a bedroom or a bathroom. And if you can remove your shoes, obviously not in a public bathroom, but if you can remove your shoes, take off your shoes and place your feet on the ground. Start to feel that connection on the earth beneath you. Breathing as you're there, and begin to just make a little friction in your hands. You're going to just continue to breathe as you do this, and you can move your hands as fast or as slow as you'd like. But the goal here is just to kind of create heat, create some kind of energy flow, friction in the hands. Staying grounded. You can close your eyes if that feels supportive. It can help to take out one of the senses. Close your eyes, or if it feels better, you can keep them open. But just creating that friction with your hands. Kind of test your hands, pull them apart, and you should probably feel like this tingling or buzzing sensation. That's good. That means you're getting some energy flowing there. So continue with the friction, and then take your hands and place them over your eyes. Close your eyes while you're doing this. Really focusing on the breath, taking full inhales. Audible exhales, if that helps. It helps release some of the stress. And as you're here breathing, noticing all the points of contact on your feet connected to the ground beneath you. Feel the warmth, the heat transferring from your hands to your eyes, to your face. We're just giving our visual sense a little bit of a break, so we're not taking in any extra stimuli as we do this. Keep breathing. Good. You can stay here as long as feels comfortable, but for now, I'm going to move on to the next position, and you can join me. I'm going to slide one hand to the back of my skull, the base of my skull here, and that is to calm the amygdala response. The amygdala is what gets fired up when we feel fear or anxiety. So it's looking for threats. It's trying to take in what's happening. So I want to calm that a little bit so it can slow down. And I've got one hand on my heart. And this is reminding me to practice compassion with myself. It's okay that I'm feeling stimulated. It's okay that I might feel confused or overwhelmed. Keep breathing while you're here. And again, if you close your eyes, that might help the process of settling the energy, dropping the stimulation. Nice full breaths here. And if it feels right, you can even give a little squeeze to that amygdala region, or a massage, or just stay and hold. It's up to you. When that feels complete, You're going to take your hands overhead and place them on the top of your head in the crown region. And I like to interlace my fingers as I do this, but just by simply doing this, we are opening up the body. We're redistributing energy so it has space to flow. And also on the top of the crown of the head, that is a very grounding point in acupressure. So I'm just allowing my shoulders to drop and let gravity do its thing. So I'm pulling down on there and breathing. And if it feels like something that would support you, you can even begin to rock forward and backward or side to side with a sway. Whatever feels more comfortable, that's very soothing to the nervous system. It's a primal instinct that we have, that we learned at a very young age to self-soothe or to be soothed by another. And if you don't want to do that, you can just stay still, rooted and grounded. Continue breathing, feeling the breath fill your lungs and travel down your body, seeing if it can travel down to the feet, to the ground, the earth beneath you. And then we'll take our hands and come to our ears, and you'll hold the tips of your ears and actually pull back on your ears just to relieve some tension. This also stimulates blood flow. And anytime we stimulate blood flow, we can increase focus, bring blood back to the brain. You might notice a yawn come as you do this. If you don't, you can also just open your mouth to release any extra tension. But just pulling back on that, and it feels very settling. It's a nice way to just kind of like say, hey, I'm here. I want to get rid of some of this tension, and I want to bring some energy and focus back to my brain. Good. And then if we have any excess energy still lingering, just discharge that by swiping down, cross your body to the opposite arm and swipe. And sometimes I like to swipe and flick, like throw that away. I don't need that energy anymore. You could even add a little shake, anything that just discharges any of that excess energy to create space so that we can start taking in information. Good. Check in with your body. How's it feeling? Take a pause, breathing with that, seeing if any of that overstimulation has started to ease a bit or a lot. And then we'll move into a triple heater pose, which is a fascia stretch where you're just going to take your arms behind you, straight back, shoulders gently pulled back and down, straight spine. And I'm pointing my fingers toward the ground, and I'm feeling an intensity in the stretch, just through different fascia layers in this region of my arm, the upper and lower regions. And do that to whatever degree feels uncomfortably comfortable for you. It's not incredibly soothing, but it's a little bit activating. And it's a way for us to just support the body during stress. It helps relieve stress and overwhelm. Continuing with the breath while you're there. If it gets too intense, you can just go back to shaking. Otherwise, continuing to hold this pose for a little bit longer. A couple more breaths here. Good. One more breath. Good. And then we'll close this practice by using the acupressure point on our third eye. It's the space between your eyebrows here, the yin tang point. And you're just going to press here with 2 fingers. This helps ease anxiety if there's still some lingering anxiety. It's said to clear the mind. So I start to visualize this clearing of what's happening in my brain and allowing it space to come to the back and fall through the body. And it supports presence in the current moment. So just pressing gently into this acupressure point, and close your eyes and start to feel the eyes settle, maybe recede into the back of the skull, and start to feel like you're pressing any of that extra stimulation or extra fuzziness you may be feeling, extra energy, and just kind of allowing it to release. And you can even visualize that, staying here as you breathe. Good. Take a couple more breaths here. Audible exhales will help release and discharge anything lingering. Dropping your hands, staying with your eyes closed. Drop into the body and just notice. Notice how the body feels compared to when you started this practice. Have there been any shifts? Any releases? Is there an expansion or tension? Are there any movements you feel that you could add that your body just intuitively wants to make right now? If so, take this time to do that, or go through the whole flow again if it doesn't feel like the stimulation has calmed down enough. But if it feels like you've come enough into regulation that you can take action, whether that action means leaving the situation, taking a greater, like a break from the situation, or returning to the situation and consciously taking some pauses, or even maybe pressing on an acupressure point while you talk to someone, squeezing your hands, squeezing your limbs, or standing firmly on your feet and just kind of rocking back and forth. Ways to just keep energy flowing so that it doesn't come into the body and get stuck. So do what's best for you. And then I'll recommend when you get home from whatever the stimulating circumstances that you go through this flow again, or intentionally take time with no external stimuli, just to let your body decompress. I hope this has been helpful.